Welcome back to the Doorkickers player channel. This is Mission 74 Grocery Shop Trouble. Now, this one is a tough one. It is a hostage rescue mission. It says here one hostage, but this is, I think, I could be mistaken, but I think this is the first time we run into some pretty heavy duty bad guys. I'll show you what I mean later. This is the first attempt. I don't think this is the successful one. This is the successful one. So we're going to go ahead. The unsuccessful attempt. That took me about 19 minutes. And as you can see, I keep failing. Let's see here.
On it. Okay.
Let's see what. There we go. So, trooper down, which means we completely failed this mission. That was the first attempt. Let's go ahead and have a look at this real quick. This is the last attempt. Let's go ahead and scroll here. Oh, is that the playback? Planning mode. All right, let's go to the beginning of the playback. You can already see kind of what's happening, but we'll talk about it. So, all right, so starting off, we've got these guys. We've got 4 operators, and no, I need arrow. Thank you. And so this is interesting. So some weapons in the game can be used for breach, as you can see here. I'm gonna see. Let's go ahead and we can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so yeah, that'll be just fine. Just move that there. All right, so
Get low.
as you can see here, we've got a breach weapon, which means that instead of blowing up the door, instead of lockpicking the door, breaking down the door, they're just going to shoot the door. Now, you'll notice something interesting. So what I have here is all 4 operators converge, right? So this operator goes here, this operator, this operator, this operator. They all converge to a single point, and then they kind of stack up, and then they breach. And then you can kind of see here, I've got 2 operators going this way, and then 2 operators going this way. Now, I recently redid this mission, and one of the things that I did instead was I had 2 operators, well, one go here and then here, and then 2 operators like that, right? And then I blew up these doors, and that way I was able to cover pretty much all my angles, right, in the entire room. But this is a pretty solid plan. As I mentioned before, some weapons are strong enough to penetrate doors and stuff to like break them down. So using that as an option is definitely great because that means that the rifle stays up. And so you can do this with shotguns, but also some like heavy duty machine guns, right? The downside is that the machine guns make the operator slower, right? And so you kind of have to like decide what you want to do. This is I would say that this is the way to do it if you want to use machine guns because they're stronger. Personally, I prefer the rifle. I think it's called the Panda Striker or something like that. Um, you know what? Let me see here. Gonna open the game here on my phone. Uh, whoops. Okay, let's see here. It's called I got it right. It's called the Panda Striker. You have to download this off the like the extras. So you go to like on the home screen on the bottom left, there's going to be like a settings button, and then you're going to see like a puzzle piece. go ahead and click that, and then you can download like different like packs. So you want to download the, let's see here. It's called the Long Barrel Weapon Pack. And then the Panda Strike is going to be in there. And the Panda Strike is extremely effective. I've been using it a lot. It's the fastest in terms of operators moving. It's the fastest. It's got a great stopping power, great fire rate. I really like it. Sometimes I switch to a silenced weapon, but that's what I use currently. But for this mission, I'm using some type of heavy machine gun. I'm not really sure what it is. It might be the Battle Panda, it might be something else. But I'm using a machine gun, and I'm using the machine gun to shoot down this door. The benefit of shooting down the door is that the rifle is up. Now you can achieve the same effect with just like a breaching charge, right? But either way, it kind of just depends on how you want to move on this mission.
Let's do this. Holding barrel. Holding barrel on it.
So, all right. So right now you can see I've got 4 flashbangs going in. Now this is actually pretty good. If you want to go through this mission methodically instead of quickly. So in terms of methodically, meaning you want to cover all of your angles before moving into anywhere. You want to cover as much as you can before doing anything. That's what you want to be doing, right? You want to be throwing flashbangs into every corner of the room, or well, the most reachable or most dangerous corners. In which case, the most dangerous corner right now is here, right? But considering that you could have tangos here and here, which I know for a fact there are because I've done this, I failed this mission a bunch, right? So because I know that there's tangos here, I want to get flashbangs in these areas to deal with these tangos specifically, right? But hypothetically, you would want to throw a flashbang in there, and because that's the most dangerous corner, you want to throw a flashbang down there, and then you can throw 2 flashbangs, close range, right? Because we're also dealing with close range threats. So those are kind of your options, but this is what I did to accomplish this mission.
Flash out.
Now, as you can see, we already see a tango. So this is what I was speaking about on last mission. When you have the operators kind of stacked up in this way, they're kind of blocking the line of sight. What you want to do is you want to have as many, sorry, operators. What you want to do is you want to have as many operators as you can with the ability to deal with any tangos as much as possible, right? So you don't want them necessarily to be stacked up. Also, being stacked up so close together means that this tango has a line of sight on multiple operators, right? You want to minimize that essentially, right? So that way one operator can maybe throw a flashbang or throw a grenade or something, right? So having the operators bunched up in this way is a little bit dangerous. It's very dangerous. I don't recommend it. So as you can see, they're moving in once the flashbangs pop. Now, this is incredibly lucky because this tango right here, well, can't really see him, but this tango right here is right now disoriented, and that allows for these operators to move in here. But otherwise, these operators would have been, taken out.
Go.
And another lucky thing is that these tangos are also disoriented, because if they weren't disoriented, boom, boom, right? These operators are gone, right? So it's kind of like you have the option to either, line them up like that so that this way, these two can deal with that guy, these two can deal with those guys, which is what I did in the current mission, in the current attempt of this mission when I redid this. But it's either you can do that or you can just throw flashbangs in there, disorient them, which gives you enough time to calmly move in here with all of your operators, get a good position, and take them out, right? So that's what I'm doing here. As you can see, it's working pretty well. Now, the reason I'm using heavy machine guns is because these tangos, as you can see here, they don't look like regular tangos. These guys are armored to the teeth, which means that they're incredibly difficult to take out. So you really need either like a shotgun or a heavy machine gun to take these guys out quickly, or you need very, very experienced riflemen that have the Panastroika. But this is definitely a great option, especially because they're disoriented. So heavy machine gun, taking them out, and disorienting them before that with the flashbang is great. As you can see, serious heavy automatic fire on the tangos. Also, the gore is like at a 10, so don't mind all the gore in the video. All right, so as you can see, we have a clear line of sight to the entire room, right? Everything here is clear except for this little corner here, which is the most dangerous corner. I remember that there's a term for it, but there's like the danger corner, right? But everything else is cleared except for this right here, which is great. It's a great position to be in, especially if you are, you know, moving carefully and dealing with threats as they appear. Yeah, as you can see, some of the operators you can kind of see here, right? Some of the operators are hit. You can kind of see the blood, right? So that means that they're weakened and that they're more easily taken out in the future.
Holding.
All right, so I kind of cheated on this and I'm just ignoring this room here because I assume that there's only one tango here. So I think that there's only one tango in this area, right? So I'm kind of just ignoring this room, but uh, technically I should be checking with these two operators, having them go down here, um, like so, right? But I guess it works if you're just, focused on the game.
Moving.
Oh, never mind. There is another tango there. It's a good thing I had these operators check. Now, again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Operators and they're, blocking the line of sight, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what you shouldn't be doing. You should be moving the operators along the walls, and if they're not along the walls, have them as far apart as you can, right? So these two operators, I would have them move this way, right? Even if they're going that way, I would still have them move against this wall here, right? So that this way they can, let's see here, they'll go this way, right? Or they might go like this way, right? Like that's what I would do just because it keeps the operators safe. And this is not a joke. Moving this way, right, definitely keeps the operators safe. And it keeps them in the right positions, right? Like, for example, also these guys, right? Have them move further apart, like so, but also be on the same line, right? Not like these guys are on different lines, right? So the reason that this is the safest option is because you've got the operators covering this area, right? And then before this operator gets in the line of sight, right? This guy is already turning that way, right? So the more accurate version would be like so, right? So that way, this guy is already covering this area, right? Already covering that. And that way, if there are any threats in this area, then this operator notices it and is able to tell this guy, or technically I can, but he can deal with that threat before this guy even comes in a frame into line of sight, right? And the same thing here. These guys got to be on the same line so that if there is a threat this way, right? Look at where the line is. They're not blocking each other, right? That's the line, right? So at any point, let's see where this guy is, right? That's his line of sight, okay? So that means that when these two operators get here to this line, he starts dealing with him. He can't see him, so he's not doing anything, but he's also not in the way, right? So allowing this guy the option to deal with that guy while this guy maintains his coverage on this area and on this area. Again, no one is in each other's line of sight this way. Everyone is perfectly safe, right? In terms of like teams, right? So that's team 2, team 1, right? Same thing with this team, right? If there's any threats, whatever, as long as they stay on the same line, they're good. This is the line, whatever, ish. We'll make it a little bit more that way, okay? Let's say that's the line. Let's remove that so you can see. Okay, let's say this is the line here, right? So at this point, if there's a threat this way, everyone's safe. If there's some sort of threat coming from here or here, everyone is still safe, right? Because by the time that this operator reaches this point, this operator is already here, right? So he can deal with anything coming from that direction, right? So in order to keep everyone safe, you really want the operators to move along the walls, but with a little bit of distance and with that kind of route, right? That's the safest way to do it. Let's see what happens here in terms of dealing with this tango. So you see, I had to have one of the operators stop so that the other one could get a line of sight on him and help him deal with the tango. And as you can see, this operator gets shot a bunch. Finally, that tango goes down, back to covering the D side. Okay, now we've got to reload because we are almost out of bullets.
Change mag. Reloading.
Okay, now you can see here I've got a route for these guys to go in here, which is a mistake. You've got a window, use it. Okay? Use the window. If you can't use the window, you're doing something wrong. Shoot down the door. Get ready to throw in a flashbang, which is not really going to work, right? Well, technically it might, but the flashbang is useless. Why? Because anyone that's in the room has a line of sight. No line of sight there. Let's see here. What about this? No line of sight there. What about this? Bingo. So anyone from here until, let's see, here, right? So anyone in this box right here has a line of sight on these operators and can take them out. So why are you throwing a flashbang? If you're gonna throw a flashbang from here. Okay? From here, almost no one has a line of sight on you. Versus from here, the entire room has a line of sight on you. Right? You see my point? Moving on. See what happens. You see what happened? Completely useless flashbang. And now I gotta deal with this terrorist.
Good job.
Tango down. That's the end of the mission. A bunch of tactical mistakes there. Even though it was successful, it's best not to make those kind of tactical mistakes. I think once I've gone through the entire um, all the missions, I'll kind of redo them, but with the knowledge that I have now, and make it a series, and then maybe I'll kind of just compare the two. Either way, um, yeah, that was mission 74. Let's go ahead and watch the full replay on its own.
Let's do this. Holding barrel. Here. Holding barrel on and lock. Flash out.
Alpha, go.
Straight down. Holding. Moving. Tango down. Moving. Reloading. Changing mag. Reloading. Reloading. Unlock. Looks clear. Out. Straight down.
Good job. We're done here.
Yeah, not that good of a job, but it was successful, so I'm not complaining. This has been Mission 74 called Grocery Shop Trouble. If you liked this video, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more of these kinds of videos, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if there's anything that you guys want to see in these videos, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. I'll see y'all in the next video.